Hey guys, welcome to Safety Optional. Today we're back with my Jeep Cherokee here, getting it ready for Jeep Jam next weekend. You guys may recognize from some of my other videos this 1990 Jeep Cherokee that I've had since I was about 16 years old. And it hasn't been wheeled in about 2 years. So I need to go through it, make sure that it's all ready to go if I'm going to take it on trail rides and on some obstacles. So it's about to rain later today. I want to get this thing cleaned up. So step one is going to be pulling it out, getting it power washed. Then we're going to go through all of it, make sure that it's all in working order. I will say I've definitely learned in my time working on cars is that it pays to clean a vehicle really well before you work on it. Yesterday when I was working on Eric's Jeep, I had dirt and debris falling all in my face because it was just so filthy underneath. I worked really hard to keep this thing clean so that doesn't happen. Underneath you can actually get to all the bolts, you can see what they are. There's not a lot of stuff stuck up underneath that's going to be falling off. Part of that may be because this thing hasn't seen mud or dirt in 5 or 6 years, but it is what it is. I'm gonna let this dry, and while it's drying, I'll take you on a tour of the inside. All right, so let's talk a little bit about preparation for a wheeling trip. There's quite a bit of gear that I've got that I want to make sure is loaded in here so that I have it if I need it, and chances are I might, just because this thing is so unproven lately. But first thing you'll notice from another episode, I've got a winch, which, Lord, I hope I don't need it, but I've got it if I do. But one of the problems is when I installed the winch, I just ran the cables down there because I was in a hurry to put it to use, and so the cables are hanging down where they're definitely going to get caught on an obstacle. So one of the first orders of business is going to be zip tying those things up out of the way where they're going to be safe. So all it took was a quick look to realize, no, I can't zip tie them up out of the way. I'm going to have to reroute them to get them on a safer path to the battery. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, now those battery cables, or those cables for the winch, are not hanging down. Good deal. All connected up. Now I just need to test it and make sure it works, but that's job one down. So there's a lot of other things I take with me when I go wheeling with this thing, just out of an abundance of caution. One of them is a fire extinguisher, and I keep that right here next to the driver's seat. I haven't had any issues with it rattling around or anything, so it lives right there. I can grab it if I need it for this Jeep or someone else's. I've got the interior kind of vacuumed out, cleaned up. That way I don't have to worry about dirt and debris in here. As old as this thing is and as many miles as it has on it, I still try to keep it in pretty good shape. Back seat, I'll probably end up having some gear back here too, but right now it's clean and tidy. Then in the back here, got a flashlight, gas can in case I run out of gas, somebody else runs out of gas. I've got a chain that I'll use to strap this down to my trailer over there, and I'll also throw it in just in case I don't like pulling with a chain, but I've got it if I need it. What I do have though in here is my little recovery kit where I've got a snatch block, I've got a tree saver strap, I've got the chain attachment for my Hilift Jack, got several shackles, pins, and I've got a strap without a hook and strap with a hook. So I can do it either way. And this one you can use, just slip through there and not use the hooks if you want to. The hooks are kind of dangerous. A lot of people don't like them. Sometimes they're kind of a necessity, so I've got both. Then I've got the antenna for my CB. Most people don't use CBs anymore, but I've still got it. I love it. And then I'm taking my Hilift Jack. That thing will get you out of a lot of situations. Plus, it's just super handy to jack it up or whatever, but you can use it as a winch if you need to. I've had to do that before. It works as a come along, more or less. And I've had a couple situations where I've popped a tire off off-roading and needed to jack it up in a precarious situation, and it worked perfectly. I've also got a spare tire, of course. This one is a piece of crap. I got it used 20 years ago, and you can tell it's probably not good for anything, but really all I need this for is to get me back on the trailer if I have a blowout somewhere. Two other items that I'll be taking that I always have with me, they live in my pickup here, so they'll be in my pickup, are my emergency go bag, which is, this is basically a first aid kit, but it also has some other miscellaneous stuff that I might need, medications, things of that nature, little odds and ends. I always take this with me when I go camping, when I go on road trips, when I go a lot of places, just because it has a little bit of everything I might need in there, but especially for the first aid kit. And then I've got this, which is a air compressor, and this isn't like the little crappy Harbor Freight ones. This one actually works pretty good, and can it fully air up a Jeep or truck tire. So definitely gonna need this bad boy if I air down but want to go on pavement or any situation where I need to air back up. Probably won't need it, but I'm gonna take it anyway. It's just super handy. And lastly, one of the more important things I'm taking, a set of travel tools. And this has all the tools that I normally use for working on my Jeep, and this is just in a little box that I can just throw in. I've been using this to work on the Comanche project, so I can take my own personal tools down to Muskogee to work on it. But I'll be taking this along too, just in case. So now that I've got it kind of loaded up, it's dried out a little bit, I'm gonna start it up, check the fluids, check to make sure the engine's running good. This thing may need an oil change, but you just need to check all the fluids, make sure they're topped up and ready to go. Well, it looks pretty good. Doesn't feel like it's too broken down, so I'm just gonna run it. So this bad boy over here, I just mentioned I had coolant flowing through it. I replaced this the other day because these are really prone to failure on Cherokees of this age. In fact, it's a wonder that my other one survived this long. Made it 30 years and never broke, but it was starting to show signs of aging. And most of the time these are just disintegrated long ago. But I kept the old one as a spare and I replaced it with this new one. So I don't have to worry about having to blow out when I'm wheeling or drive this thing anywhere, because these things, this year of Cherokee has a pressurized cooling system that if that were to blow out, you wouldn't, you'd overheat. And you can see kind of some of my other modifications that I've made on this. The vacuum operated doodad to run water through the heating core just disintegrated years ago on this thing, and so I just put in a T and a T and a valve so I can control if I want water to go back through the heater or not. All I have to do is open that valve, but most of the time I like to keep it shut. And while I'm looking at that, I'm looking at all my wires, I'm looking at my hoses. All of those look to be in good working order. Brake fluid, I'm sure, needs to be flushed, but oh, there's some nice clean brake fluid there in the back. So that's good. So brake fluid's good. So yeah, all the fluids good, ready to go. All the hoses look clean. I don't see any leaks or anything, so this baby's ready to go wheeling. And while I got you here, one thing I'll show you. When we were working on Eric's Jeep, he's got the same amount of lift as I have now. But you can see, we were talking about his control arms. See how mine are at a downward angle? That means I've already got limited droop on how much further they can go, and you can see where mine's got a dent. There's a dent in the top of the control arm and a dent in the shock mount there where it's bottomed out. So I've had this thing wheeling hard enough to actually test the limits of these control arms. So if I do more wheeling in the future, if I keep this thing, that'll be an upgrade that I'll want to do, new control arms and control arm drop brackets. But I'm a little ways away from that right now. Seems how I just don't ever drive this thing. So that's it. I hope I've got it ready for the wheeling trip. We'll find out. I don't know. It'll be fun, whatever it is. So at least Eric will be there and I'll have mine. We'll be able to go wheeling together. And it should just be a good time. All right, I've got the Jeep strapped down. I've got the body sucked down with chains so it won't bounce around. I've got the axles strapped off with ratchet straps so it's not gonna slide around. So that thing isn't going anywhere. Now that I'm ready to roll, there's just one more thing that I need to do.